Rachel Maddow went to Dick Cheney's funeral yesterday. We can do this, people. It's Thanksgiving. Do yourself a favor, get over yourself, and go have it with you.
In recent years, well-known American celebrations like Father's Day and Halloween have unexpectedly moved into the spotlight of political and cultural debate, and now Thanksgiving has joined that list, drawing opinions from voices across the spectrum, including Bill Maher, who has been vocal about what he sees as the growing urge to inject politics into even the simplest traditions. His remarks reflect a larger national discussion. How did holidays once meant for calm, gratitude, and coming together turn into flashpoints for cultural tension?
I can't believe that even that now is a political issue. It is a real shame what's happened to this holiday, which used to be all about the good F's: food, friends, family, football, fun. And now it's fuck you. You're not even invited because you voted for the wrong person. I'm so tired of liberals ghosting half this country. Conservatives do it too, but not nearly as much. Look, whoever's doing it, it's got to stop, because we're at a point now where politics has broken up more families than letting your wife see your phone.
In a widely shared episode, Maher focused directly on Thanksgiving, noting that some far-left cultural commentators have started viewing the holiday through a political filter, and even implying that celebrating with relatives who hold different opinions is somehow unacceptable. Maher argued that this shift turns a day meant for appreciation into a sort of loyalty check, feeding the growing push for absolute ideological agreement. His central message was clear: Thanksgiving was created to unite people, not to push them further apart.
On the liberal side, there's two camps now. The we need to keep talking to people wing, and the go no contact wing. That's what they call it now, go no contact. This belief that Trump voters, even if it's your own parents, are too deplorable for human contact and must be cut off. You know, like Scientologists do to suppressive people. A former speechwriter for Obama named David Litt wrote an op-ed this year called "Is It Time to Stop Snubbing Your Right-Wing Family?" where he admitted he'd had a change of heart and that was the wrong approach. So, of course, then the woke wing tried to banish him for breaking ranks on their policy of hating people who don't agree with you on everything, because what fun is life if you're not cutting somebody off?
Thanksgiving has also been criticized for forcing people to have uncomfortable interactions with relatives whose viewpoints they disagree with, and some people feel there's nothing to celebrate, so they just ignore the occasion. As these disagreements intensify, moments that were supposed to be pleasant increasingly serve as reminders of how sharply divided public discourse has become.
Faith, Jimmy Kimmel's wife and head writer, went public on this topic recently, so I feel it's fair to comment respectfully in public. She says she's lost relationships with relatives because she wrote them an email before the election with 10 reasons why they shouldn't vote for Trump, and some still didn't obey. So, you know. 10 reasons. I can think of 100. But I would never present it to someone as an ultimatum. Ultimatums don't make people rethink their politics. They make them...
Her comments received a lot of response. For some, her story served as a reminder of the cost of political division. Others questioned how ultimatums affected families. Political disagreements are inevitable. But Maher contended that demanding conformity rarely leads to understanding.
Somewhere along the way, my values became code for I'm the only one with a moral compass. You know what would have been a better exercise? Write a top 10 list to yourself, where you try to imagine 10 reasons why 77 million Americans didn't want to trust you with taking power. And I say that as someone who votes Democratic. As I like to remind my very pure friends, we voted for the same person. You're just why she lost.
In such a situation, an agreement could not be reached. Nonetheless, respect for opposing viewpoints was still necessary for peaceful discourse. The inability to engage with opposing perspectives, especially during community occasions like Thanksgiving, represented a shift in society from argument to dismissal.
Do you really not get it at this point? Everything with him is done through personal relationships. He's a people guy. Trust me, he's not at home at night poring over the briefing books. This is government by people who saying, If anything, we need more people like me having dinner with him. You complain he's surrounded.
Ma went on to say that some critics let their political frustrations to override national traditions. He said that rather than seeing Thanksgiving as a respite from political conflict, some people saw it as another battlefield. Whether or not one agrees with that assessment, it raises a broader question. What effect should personal political beliefs have on collective traditions?
I went to Dick Cheney's funeral yesterday. We can do this, people. It's Thanksgiving. Do yourself a favor, get over yourself, and go have it with your family.
Some claim that social consequences are now closely related to political conflict. They portray a situation in which voicing an unpopular opinion could lead to social rejection, harm to one's reputation, or online indignation. Opponents call this cancel culture, claiming that it discourages open communication and fosters a culture of self-censorship. On the other hand, advocates of accountability assert that public opposition to harmful ideas can be the vital tool. The disagreement between these viewpoints reflects a broader debate about the limits of speech, responsibility, and tolerance in a rapidly changing digital environment.
Be a hypocrite and defend attacks on speech from the left, because you either get the concept or you don't. And sadly, a lot of people don't anymore. Yes, mostly the young, who were never taught it by their derelict educational system. But also Lisa Cook. She's the Fed board member Trump is trying to fire for bullshit reasons, and they are bullshit. But when she tried to get another professor fired because he once, according to one student, was less than rapturous about Martin Luther King Day, no, she should know better. She said free speech should have its limits. Yes, it should, and does. And this comes nowhere close to them.
The discussion frequently includes comparisons with other countries. Some point to the UK, where proponents of free speech have been worried by controversial court rulings involving online communication. In the US, there were discussions about how political organizations like the Democratic National Committee should address similar problems. Advocates of stricter moderation claim that it reduces harm.
It can't become what the UK is now. A place where you get arrested for tweets. Something that happens 12,000 times a year now in Britain. Last week, the Irish sitcom writer Graham Linehan, who's won an Emmy and 5 BAFTA awards, got off a plane at Heathrow and got arrested by 5 British cops. Not because he was selling drones to the Houthis, just because he's a crank who spends way too much time online ranting about gender ideology. Which is an odd obsession for a comedian from across the pond, because if men weren't allowed to dress as women, British comedy wouldn't exist.
We will encounter ideas that we either disagree with or find unpleasant in a free society. The legislation protects a variety of political opinions, but it does not cover other forms of expression, such as threats or targeted harassment. Many argue that punishing individuals for expressing their thoughts in social or professional settings runs the risk of creating a culture that prioritizes intimidation over dialogue.
In the words of that great Brit Ricky Gervais, if you don't believe in a person's right to say things that you might find grossly offensive, then you don't believe in freedom of speech. You shouldn't have to eat your words at the airport. The chicken Alfredo on the flight was bad enough. So, Linehan may be crude, but there's plenty of non-crazy people, liberal people, who think the left has gone a little mad with trans issues. Some have expressed that opinion with literary sophistication, like J.K. Rowling. Some by getting big laughs, like Dave Chappelle. And some are downright ugly about it, like Linehan. But ugly is the price of a freedom so great as speech.
Holidays like Thanksgiving highlight this tension, offering moments to step away from conflict, reconnect with loved ones, and recognize our shared humanity, even amid deep political disagreements. When differing views are used as reasons to divide, the consequences go beyond mere ideology. In this sense, the debate over Thanksgiving reflects much more than a single day on the calendar. It challenges us to think about the kind of society we want to create, one that encourages open dialogue, or one that suppresses dissent, one that drives people apart, or one that unites them despite their differences.